Lebanese influencer and self-styled activist Kémi Séba appeared in a Pretoria court recently. Many South Africans probably shrugged. Another controversial activist, another court appearance, another foreign political drama. But that reaction misses the bigger picture entirely. Because this case is not just about one man. It is about the future of democracy, political stability, and regional governance in Africa. And South Africans should be paying very close attention to that. So this Monday, the 11th of May, Seba is due back in the Pretoria Magistrates Court as his bail application continues in a case now attracting growing international attention. So the real question is, why should we care? We should care because this case sits at the intersection of three major forces currently responsible for reshaping Africa: the rise of populist political influences, the weakening of regional institutions, and the spread of geopolitical competition across the continent. So, to understand this properly, you have to look beyond South Africa. You have to look west, specifically to West Africa. And this is a region that's facing one of the most serious political crises in its modern history. Now, in recent years, countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have experienced military coups. Anti-establishment rhetoric has exploded online. Public trust in institutions has also weakened, and frustration amongst young people, driven by unemployment, inequality, corruption, and insecurity, has created fertile ground for radical political messaging. Now, this is the environment where figures like Kémi Séba thrive. Seba presents himself as an anti-imperialist activist fighting Western influence in Africa. His messaging targets France, international institutions, and regional organizations like ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. Now, critics argue that there's a deeper problem than this, because while Seba speaks the language of liberation and sovereignty, his rhetoric often oversimplifies extremely complex political realities. He frames governance failures almost entirely as a result of foreign interference, while downplaying internal corruption, failed leadership, economic mismanagement, and the role of other global powers like Russia. And that matters because narratives shape politics. They shape public anger, they shape trust. And in fragile political environments, they help destabilize entire regions. Now let's talk about the charges that are currently before the Pretoria court. South African authorities say Seba, whose real name is Telio Gilles Roberto Capo Chichi, is wanted in Benin on allegations linked to inciting rebellion following a failed coup attempt there in late 2025. Now, police also allege that Seba, his son, and a South African associate were attempting to illegally cross into Zimbabwe before traveling over to Europe. Investigators say around 318,000 rand in cash and several mobile phones were also seized. And this was during the arrest operation at a Pretoria shopping center. His legal team, meanwhile, argues that the matter is politically motivated and has launched an asylum application in South Africa, saying the current charges before the court relate primarily to immigration issues. But what has really drawn attention is what investigators placed before the court in affidavit evidence. Now, according to testimony read into record by the state, the investigating team believe the case extends beyond a routine immigration matter. The lead investigating officer alleged that Seba represents a significant flight risk due to his international political connections and his cross-border activities. And in one of the most striking moments from the affidavit, investigators described concerns about individuals who allegedly operate outside formal political structures while influencing regional instability. Now, the affidavit reportedly warned about actors involved in crimes against the state and raised concerns around networks capable of mobilizing political unrest across borders. Now, those details do matter because they point to something much larger than one court case. Let's talk about Benin. Benin may not dominate headlines, but it plays a crucial role in West Africa. It is one of the region's most stable constitutional democracies. Its port in Cotonou is a vital trade gateway for landlocked Sahel countries, and it has consistently supported regional integration through ECOWAS. So, in many ways, Benin represents the institutional path forward for West Africa. It helps with cooperation, trade integration, and constitutional governance. But Benin is also under pressure. Political tensions, concerns around civil liberties, and rising public frustration have opened space for disruptive political movements and influences. And this is where Seba enters the picture. His supporters see him as a truth teller, challenging the elites. His critics see something else entirely, a political entrepreneur profiting from outrage, anti-system anger, and geopolitical disruption. And now South Africa has become a part of that story. Because the Pretoria court case is no longer simply about one individual facing legal scrutiny. It is about how democratic states respond to cross-border political activism in an era where influence travels faster than institutions can even react. Now, South Africa faces a very difficult balancing act. On the one hand, freedom of expression and political dissent are core democratic principles. But on the other hand, every democracy must decide where the line exists between protecting activism and conduct that threatens constitutional order or even fuels instability. This is the test which is now unfolding in Pretoria, and that's why we should care. Because the outcome could have implications which are far beyond the courtroom. And maybe here's the reality that many do not actually grasp. What happens in West Africa does not stay in West Africa anymore. Political narrative spread across borders instantly. Influencers mobilize audiences across multiple countries. Foreign powers compete for influence through media, ecosystems, online campaigns, and even political networks. But instability travels. We're already seeing the consequences across the continent. Regional organizations are under strain. Military governments are testing the limits of international norms. And public distrust in institutions is growing in many democracies, including even here in South Africa. And that is why this case actually matters. Because at its core, this is not just a legal story. It is a warning sign. A warning about how vulnerable democratic institutions can become when misinformation, populist mobilization, and geopolitical competition collide. And it is also a reminder that Africa's future will not only be decided in parliament or in presidential offices or in military barracks. Increasingly, it will be shaped online by narratives, by influences, by political movements that can mobilize anger faster than governments can ever respond. So when Kémi Séba returns to the Pretoria Magistrates Court on Monday the 11th, South Africans should pay attention. You should pay attention, because this case is about much more than one activist. It is about the resilience of democratic institutions, the future of regional stability, and the growing battle between constitutional governance and populist disruption across Africa. And whether we realize it or not, South Africa is now a part of that battle.